You're busy, you've got a decent practice, but nobody wants to be decent. You want to be great, and you want to have a great practice. So how did the most productive, profitable dentist in the nation balance real life, work, and profits, and somehow make it all seem fun? Well, it comes down to simple, everyday practices. So grab a lunch, join us as we chat with top clinicians and influencers to discover their formula for uncommon success. Are you ready? Then it's time to explore everyday practices.
Welcome to another episode of Everyday Practices. I am your host, Reagan Robertson, President and CMO of Productive Dentist Academy. And I've got with me today my co-host, Dr. Chad Johnson. Hi, Chad.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
Doing fine.
We have an extremely special guest with us today that I personally asked to join us. She is the former co-host of Everyday Practices. She is the CEO of Productive Dentist Academy. She is a mentor of mine, a mentor to many, an inspiration to all. Victoria Peterson, welcome to
yeah. Thank you. I feel like I'm coming on the Regis Philbin show. Like Regis isn't even there anymore. It's the Kelly and somebody.
Right.
Awesome. Oh,
you're right.
Terrible for brand recognition. It's the Kelly and somebody show now. We don't even know who.
I know. Well, thank you for having me here on Everyday Practices. You guys are just rocking it and telling such great stories. So I was actually thrilled when you wanted me to come on as a guest. This is kind of fun.
It's come full circle.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, we love to bring the listeners in on some of the behind the scenes discussions that we have. And one of the ways we do that is by bringing doctors on that are PDA doctors that we know intimately to share, very transparently what's going on in their practices and how they're making it work. And I love getting the real juicy stuff out. And so we asked you, Victoria, to be our guest today because we have been doing a lot of the behind the scenes work on our new program, the PDA Business Impact Foundations course. And when you and I were speaking and putting together the program and looking at the different elements of it, you really are starting at a core that is so important to businesses, and it can get often overlooked, I think, in the day-to-day grind. And COVID has really allowed a lot of dental practices to take a breath, step back, and ask themselves the question, what does success look like for me? What does it look like moving forward for me? And I'm wondering from a business owner perspective, from your own shoes, outside of dentistry even, Victoria, how has COVID impacted you and your view of success and PDA's version of success? And what kinds of things have you processed over the last few months?
Well, you start with the easy questions.
In fewer than 10 words.
Of course.
Yeah. I think for me, it's reinforcing a few key concepts. Like number one, I can define success for me. I cannot define success for you. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's really important to find your core and to find your center. And what was great about COVID, it knocked everybody off center. And for me, I got knocked off center about 4 years ago through a culmination of things that ended in a health crisis that, from the outside, I looked terrific, right? Because I look terrific. That's funny. But on the outside, you couldn't really see all that was going on neurological with me. You were there, Reagan. So there was a lot of non-epileptic seizures and central nervous system things. And if I were overtaxing my brain, then, I only had bits of energy, and I had to be very careful about where I put my focus during those times. And everything's great now, got on the right vitamins and exercise and all that kind of good stuff. But as entrepreneurs, we end up burning ourselves out chasing somebody else's definition of success. And I think a lot of times many well-meaning people end up living on that Sunday aisle, someday when I get out of dental school, then it's going to be great. Or I get out of dental, I'm going to get my first job, or I'm going to pay off my debt. Or you and I love that one. Hey, welcome back to debt, my friend.
Let's not start that. Huh?
So when we're chasing the goal, that is external to ourselves, it's exhausting. And once you can come in and clearly define what success looks like for me in terms of my own health, in terms of my relationships and my family and my lifestyle, then you get to pragmatically look at, okay, then how do I set the game up financially? And for business owners, that is the big game that you play. And I think the big mistake that doctors make a lot of times is that they don't look at, it's very scary. It's nauseating as an entrepreneur to kind of look back at some of the decisions you've made and some of the holes you dig. I once heard the definition of an entrepreneur is you can afford to pay for your mistakes. And I think we do that a lot. So for me, COVID kind of was a time to reflect back and say, what is the core for me? What are the core values for PDA? And I saw a lot of people rushing to market. There's a lot of free content, a lot of giveaways, a lot of this, a lot of that. I can't sustain strong promotion. Bruce is great at promotion. So he took the tact. We're very tactical. And Bruce took to the airwaves. He did 58 webinars, podcasts. He was everywhere. And that's the beauty of our partnership, is because he could be there. You were there. Chad was there. And so I stepped back as co-host of Everyday Practices even before COVID so that I could come internal to PDA. And I said, the winds of change are coming. How do we align to that and stay true to what we believe is correct, for us? How do we align and define success for ourselves and stay very true to that? So I would say in 10 words or less, defining success and then testing it, filtering it through the various parts of your life to test it and see if that's true. Where does it ring true?
So part of the Business Impact Foundations course then is, once you've defined it, then now how do we enact it? How do we set up our structure to where it's successful for us and we're not slaves to it?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason we created this foundation, the foundation course has one outcome, and that is to create a 24-month business plan with milestones that you can check every step of the way. And we chose to start here. It's very tempting to go into practice management. If you listen to the marketplace with one ear, you'll hear, oh, they need more case acceptance or clinical skills or marketing or this or that. You hear a lot of tactical things, but here's what I figured out. Number one, you define success on your own terms. You create the roadmap, and I do think it's a roadmap. It's not a blueprint anymore. A blueprint says, I'm building a building, it's earthquake proof, it's stable.
To these specs. Absolutely to those specs.
Right, absolutely to those specs.
And we want to point out that it's like, whoa.
My phone's calling 911. This is so hot. All right.
Did you get a new sound machine going? That was the sound effect machine.
Right.
Something. So it's a roadmap because your career is a journey. So once you define success, we're going to get into the metrics that help you measure that success. We're going to get into risk assessment. What are the things that threaten your business that maybe you haven't looked at? We're going to look at how you communicate and elevate and motivate your team, all of those things that drive your success. But then there are other things, and this is where most doctors start. They either start with clinical confidence, and they're really diving deep into more CE, more CE. If I just do Invisalign, then my practice will be good. Or maybe I need to do implants, or now I need 3D printers. And they chase, they want to correct their business by chasing a clinical solution. If that makes sense, Chad. Have you met guys, or every conference you go to?
Sure. If I could just be a better implantologist, then my business will do well.
Right.
Right.
And
which is kind of true. I mean, it's not false, but it's also chasing up the wrong ladder.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're looking for the silver bullet. So I see a lot of chasing the clinical competence because that's our comfort zone. And when you go to trade shows and the new equipment, the first thing the sales guy shows you is an ROI spreadsheet of, if you just start doing 3 more implants, you get your money back in X months.
Oh my gosh, how many have I seen those? I've seen so many of those, Victoria. They're just so easy. Why wouldn't you spend 200 grand on this? Easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest culprit of that, and I'm a laser guy, but a lot of laser companies will just say, well, all you need to do is 5 frenectomies a month, and then you can pay for this. It's that simple. And it's like, oh, well, I'll just find 5 frenectomies.
What do you do then? You set up, then you chase the marketing aspect. Okay, frenectomies.com. Right?
Can you imagine a billboard that says, is your tongue tied? You know, like, look under this tongue, how I lasered it. Yeah.
Yeah.
New campaign born right now. You heard it, everybody, live.
Yeah.
Come get burned by my laser.
Hadgotyourtongue.com.
Got your tongue. I love it. So you chase clinical confidence, you chase marketing, or you chase, this is the one I like the best. When our phone rings, Reagan, and they go, can you fix my team? I'm good, but please come fix my team. My systems are out of whack. It's all right. So we want to start with defining success and building your business plan, because if you start in those other places, you're out of order. So here's how it goes. Business impact helps you define your success. Productive systems helps you drive the car faster down that road. Clinical confidence helps you communicate what it is you want to support patients in their health with. And then the patient experience that you can deliver, that really defines the consistency that builds trust over time. So if I start with consistency to build trust without a plan, I don't know what I'm building consistency towards. Mm-hmm. If I go to a CE and every time I come back, I go, team, this is awesome. And they say, just wait till Wednesday. He'll cool his jets. So really, that's what the foundations class is about. This, if you want the behind the scenes look, it's a way to gain control of your business without being overbearing or over controlling with the team. And I came from a strong team background. I was an assistant, I was a hygienist, I was an office manager as I was getting my degrees in business. So I'm very team centric, and my heart is with the team right now. They're scared, they're afraid, they're reevaluating their values. So employers are going to win when they create clarity, and when they create safety, when they create confidence that we're here, we have a purpose, we have a mission, we're serving well, I appreciate you, our patients appreciate you. Those are the businesses that are going to win.
Victoria, you said something, I think it was a week ago or so, but you talked about delegation without a plan being total chaos.
Yeah.
And I think right now is a really good example of some chaotic times. We have some doctors who are producing more than they've ever produced before, but it's definitely a short-term, splurge or blitz or whatever you want to call it. And then we have other doctors that are scrambling, and we have doctors that are struggling with team. And when it comes to CE, if I'm putting myself in the doctor's shoes, what area, should you be attacking first? And there's this kind of overwhelming sense of which direction do I point? Since I am the leader, just because I'm the boss doesn't mean I'm a great leader, but because I've been, de facto business owner and leader, what area do I go towards first? And you've always taught me that there's really these 3 core areas that you align when you make decisions. And it's, the logic, what's in the head, and what's in your heart, and what's in your gut. And could you tell viewers or listeners about the, aligning those 3 so that you can really smoothly navigate through those waters quickly and make decisions without suffering the burnout in the midst of all of this that's going on?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And when times are calm and you're more in control of the pace of change, it's easy to kind of slow down, take a breath and say, does that make sense? And, is that good for the people? And yeah, that feels right in my gut. Right now, though, there's so much uncertainty in our economic system. We're in a political year where elections are being held. We've got this pandemic and true health concerns. So we've actually put together a tool. That's the first thing you do in the business impact class. And we're already starting to get these back. And it's a practice assessment wheel So it actually shows you through COVID, where have you been a strong leader and which areas of the practice are in good shape right now? Is it team engagement? Is it financial options? All of those kind of things, and which areas need focus. So we're actually have supportive, I call this class, it's like a leadership toolbox, and where you're going to get real world tools that I use here at PDA. Everything we teach, we use. So we've done some form of this with our own team. And so you get to start with, this is where I self-assess that I need focus. So sometimes it's easier to have someone ask you questions and say, is this in alignment today? Yes or no? Does this need attention? Yes or no? So we start with an assessment. And again, this is you defining success. This is you defining where you need to focus. So the coursework is actually kind of fluid, and everyone will have their own journey depending on where we're at. And we act as a guide for that journey to help you co-create, because there's 8 different areas here within business leadership that may need focus. So we're going to be here to help you find solutions for that area.
That reminds me, Chad, did you ever read, or Victoria, did you ever read the Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember those? That's
Oh
what,
yeah.
what I hear, to choose your own adventure. And how amazing is that, to not be cookie cutter, to not be forced in. Now you'll have tools, obviously, that'll help you along the way, but you'll also have peers. Can you tell us about the power of peer learning?
Yeah. Not only do you get to see where your individual practice needs focus, there's another assessment we do that shows you, are you early stage in the race to revenue? Are you kind of mid-career, peaked and plateaued? Or have you regenerated and you're in an advanced business conversation? So we'll help you align with peers that are in that same life cycle of your business. So Chad, we've watched you. We've been with you since scratch start and getting going. And you were young and enthusiastic, and now you're a little less young.
Enthusiastic.
Yeah, a little less young, but enthusiastic. And you peaked and plateaued, but then you created a new adventure. So now you're on this advanced multi-doctor, multi-location track.
But what's kind of cool is it's because I defined success for me, like I could have stayed where I was. And if you want to plateau because you're comfortable there and stay there, then stay there. That's the cool thing. It's a choose your own adventure. And it's not necessarily always about growth. Growth would be when you want to change for the better. So I mean, that being an example, what are some of the problems, that doctors are having right now?
Oh, I mean, you would be able to tell me more because you're talking to so many people. What I hear right now is team engagement. There's such a turnover in our industry of qualified team members. So it really is this piece of clearly defining what we're all about post-COVID, bringing back the right people and redefining the mission. How do I get them engaged? And it's very different. I wrote my first book in 1999, and it was The Fundamentals of Outstanding Dental Teams. And it was a team building book. Again, it was like that blueprint model. You build it and they're done and they're your team. Today, it's not about building. No millennial out there wants to be built to your specs. No Gen X wants that, and no baby boomer woman. And I say woman because that's 95+% of the industry. So nobody wants to be built out to specs, but what they do want is to be inspired and sparked and engaged to find their own brilliance. And that, I think, is the challenge of our time, moving from an authoritative, I'm the boss, do what I say, to collaborative. And I know in my own leadership journey, we went way too collaborative, like everybody's opinion, and if not 100% on everything agreed, then we just wouldn't do it,
Sure.
And I got too much into people pleasing. So I think the swing between demand, conquer and demand versus people pleasing, finding that true balance is really tough.
It's almost totalitarian versus full democracy, and we need to find a democratic republic right in the middle. And I hate to make it overly political.
Are you
but
running for office? This is good.
I know, but what you just said was, it historically was totalitarian from the boss, and then it went like what your company did for a while, and found that it swung too far, was to be fully democratic. And then, finding the nice happy medium. So also what I hear you saying is we not only need to be able to know what patients we're serving, but also we as the company in a capacity are serving our employees. By serving them, we're leading them.
Yes.
And leading them, we're serving them. So in essence, it's twofold.
Yes. You only need one number to
7.
know.
Please tell me. Oh, okay.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you only need one number. Sorry.
Yeah. If I were asked to do a 5-minute practice assessment and give you the most detail about how things were running in your operation, guess what I would ask for?
Team satisfaction.
Nope.
Doggone it. I'm run out of guesses. Do you want me to guess one more?
Though. It's very close. Guess one more.
Okay. Crud. It's close. Raving fans.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
All right. Well, see, I'm a work in progress. All right.
Look at that. Yeah. I would measure.
Very well done, Chad.
I would measure referrals because I know that if 10% of your patient base, let's say you have 200 hygiene patients a month and you get 20 referrals and you're working towards getting 40 referrals, that tells me patients, I did this psychological research for the AACD about, 15 years ago. It still holds true. People only refer to you when they love you. It was a very specific emotion. It wasn't trust. It wasn't loyalty. It wasn't because when I refer to you, I'm putting my reputation on the line. It's a transfer of trust. And so if I'm getting a healthy referral, then I know that our systems are in place to create trust. I also know that my team is very proud of the work that we're doing because they're talking up the practice and they're asking for the referral. Team don't ask for referrals when they're not comfortable with the level of quality that's coming out of the operatory, or they're not comfortable with the persona of the practice. And as Renee Lewis always says, the business always wears the personality of the owner.
Well, so, that's the truth.
Right? So if you Bruce sells a happy face, frowny face.
Right.
So that's the only thing I would look at. If I had to do a 5-minute assessment and say, how many patient referrals do you get per month? And how many hygiene patients do you see per month? Those would be my 2 questions. And I could tell you a lot about your work environment.
Uh-huh.
I could also tell you a lot about your profitability.
So tell me, this Business Impact Foundations course, someone runs across this, it's a Wednesday, early July, and they want to hop on this. Mm-hmm. Help me figure out where do I go? To the Facebook page, to the website, productivedentist.com? How do people land on the Foundations course? If they haven't seen your emails.
Yeah. I can answer that question for you. You go to productivedentist.com/foundations and you can sign up right there. And if you email me at Regan, REGAN, at productivedentist.com, I'll give you a special code so you can get $700 off.
You've got everyday practice scholarships?
I do.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. We worked to make this as cost effective as possible. I do believe that there is an exchange of value because Chad, you're a client, you're a member, you're like the Hair Club for Men. You're not only a podcaster, you're a client.
I'm all in.
You're all in. So we're walking new people that have never know anything about PDA side by side with our coaching clients who have engaged us on a really deep level. So this is not theory. This isn't what we think you should do if you're not paying us. This is the real deal. This is how we're training and walking through our own clients. So it's deep consulting work. It's a chance for you try on PDA, see if you like it. Ends up being $2,500 for a couple months, and come prepared to work. We will kick you out of the class if you don't show up and do the work. So boom. So Fridays, yeah, boom. I mean, I really don't. You don't have time to waste, and I certainly don't have time.
Not right now. I mean, docs are slammed. They're either not back to work, and God bless you guys, like let's say in Oregon or something like that aren't back to work or whatever. But either that or the guys that are back to work like me. I mean, we're busy. We're catching up.
Yeah. This is a time to really slow down. It's really easy to be caught up in the tactics right now. And I got to go. Patients are here. Just crank it out. I want to make sure though, for all the Chads and Dave Deals and Wade Kiefers and Nikki Greens and all of our productive dentists that are with us, that, you all did a great job of week by week planning your re-entry into the marketplace. Right. You know exactly where you'd be, you know exactly how you were going to be productive. Christine just gave me the stats on average. It's actually, the average dentist is at 59% production this week. Our guys are at 102% on average, and they're collecting 93% of net production.
Yep.
So very planned, very strategic. Here's my fear. We're so head down, ass up, doing what we do. We're going to fail to plan for Q3, Q4 in January of next year. So I'm just asking that you dedicate 2 hours a week to work on your business.
Because, I mean, let me put a little, fear in there, just like a healthy fear. Flu season's coming, and I don't care if it's January or March or December, but at some point or another, every state is going to be led by a non-dentist making decisions about dentistry and whether we can be open and what is our contingency plan and how are we making sure that we're financially and systems sound to be prepared for that.
Yeah. It's my great dream that 2 years from now, dentistry will never be shut down for being non-essential again. There are things that we can do. I mean, Chad, you could be my wellness coach, right? Or go into functional medicine and do teledentistry on a different level that has nothing to do with a handpiece.
It's not just a caries removal technician.
Right. We are frontlines prevention, and it's about time we go claim that. That's just my personal belief.
For sure. I'm with you. Well, Victoria, you have more to do in this day, so we're going to let you go, but we really appreciate you joining us for this the podcast, and just so that way people can kind of hear out the Business Impact Foundations course, and that will be on Fridays.
Yeah.
And they can go to productivedentist.com/foundations.
That's right.
Perfect.
And we already know you like eggs and bacon. And so we've done that before. You're a veteran.
No, I had to give up eggs. So ask me the question.
Okay. Bacon, or I was going to think of something snarky, but like bacon or eggs?
Well, it's bacon with a smoothie.
All right.
I think bacon is what turns every vegan.
My son can attest for that. It's the only
I know.
thing he'll touch.
I am a bacon-loving vegetarian. Yes.
Well, all the way from Hawaii. I can't wait to see you again in person. But this Zoom and podcast and stuff like that we'll have to do until then. But it always does my heart a lot of good to be able to see both of you. Regan as well. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Victoria.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bring your lunch or take us to the gym again next week to improve your everyday practices. Also, subscribe on iTunes, follow us on social media, and sign up for our email list. Now get out there and win with everyday practices.